Merry meet! I'm Gory Movie, and this is Gory Talk, and today we are going to have a true crime spooktacular. We are going to have Kim Douthit, my buddy from CryptoCon Seattle, who is the co-host of Ghoulish Tendencies here. She's a true crime expert. She's going to talk about women, female killers, or alleged killers in the case of some, and we're going to deep dive into the notorious Lizzie Borden and Belle Gunness. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce Kim.
Hello.
Hi, it's nice to see you again. So, Kim was here last month, and we talked about like haunted Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole exciting thing. But today, we're talking about, I mean, we might get into some ghosties too. I have some ghosty questions lined up.
Oh yeah, always. I can always go through it, you know. There's with Lizzie Borden, there's some haunted stuff.
That's what I want to ask about.
Yeah.
I've heard some haunted Lizzie Borden stuff.
Find my notes for that because that's in a different thing than my
Oh
notes.
my
for-
goodness. So, yeah, I mean, there's some pretty exciting stuff. But I think before we talk about these particular women, I want to have maybe a general introduction because I think there are some very big differences between female killers and male killers, especially when we get into talking about serial killers.
Yes.
What are some of the ones that come to mind for you?
Female serial killers or just serial killers?
As in differences.
Well, so, and what's interesting is that one of the big differences between them is methodology and how they kill, and that women are more likely to use things like poison is a huge one, or smothering. And what's so funny is that both of the crimes we're going to be looking at, these ladies were a little more hands-on.
Yeah, extra.
And that's actually fairly unusual. In fact, it's why you have a lot of female serial killers who went undetected for as long as they did. There was a book I read that put it really well, that talked about this idea that male serial killers are hunters and female serial killers are gatherers, and that male serial killers go out and hunt for a victim. They look for somebody and they target them and they kill them. Female serial killers are more likely to kill people that they've gathered close to them. So they're more likely to kill their children or children in their care or people in their care, and lovers, husbands, partners, etc. And I found that really, really interesting and quite accurate in a lot of the cases, not universally, but in a lot of the cases.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of them tend to go after children in particular, or there's a lot of husbands and stuff. Especially, I know when it comes to sexual abuse, like statistically, if a woman's going to commit that, it's usually towards a child.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's like you said, it's usually someone they know, as opposed to sometimes men, they have like, I'm going to go after people of this type. And it's not necessarily somebody I know.
At least when we're looking at serial murders.
Yeah.
If you're looking at murders in general, it's usually somebody who you do know. And oftentimes, again, for...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode.
Yeah, but that's like a whole thing. thing, because, you know, there's a lot of circumstances where I think any of us can be like, well, in that circumstance, if I was threatened, my child was threatened, something grievous was done to me, I could maybe murder somebody. But when you look at like someone who's killed 14 to 40 people, then you're like, okay, I can't wrap my head around that. And that's where I think it gets really fascinating, because we want to, I think there's like a morbid curiosity about people who are capable of doing this.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And I think what's interesting with women looking at motivations is that you do have a lot of women where the motivation was at least started in or rooted in financial gain. But
well, that makes a lot of sense, because, I mean, what opportunities did women have to make a lot of money up until fairly recently?
I mean,
if you didn't inherit something.
If you didn't inherit something, I mean, in the Pacific Northwest, we were founded on, I mean, locally, the running joke is they were called seamstresses, the Seattle seamstresses, which were what the sex workers were called. And the majority of women when Seattle was founded were seamstresses.
I like that. That's classy.
The story goes that they called them that because when the census takers came through, all of the women, or most of the women, the single women, listed their occupation as a seamstress. But strangely, there was only one tailor shop in town.
I gotcha.
Pretty
covert.
A little covert. So that's how as the legend goes, that is why we still refer to the ladies as seamstresses.
There's another aspect to this that I find really interesting, and it's not just the killers themselves, but the reaction to the killers. I feel like when it comes to female killers, there's more of this, like, you know, how could that be? Like, I feel like as a society, we are reluctant to believe that a woman could commit such atrocities.
Well, and what's funny to me is that there's cases where the killings went on for longer because no one could really fathom the idea that a woman could do it. Or, I mean, in the case of Lizzie Borden, as we're going to see, whether or not you think she did it, she did go on trial for it. And part of the defense was, but she's a woman.
And I think that was also part of the sensationalism, because, like, she's young and she's a girl. So it's like, well, that's how I think it became such a big thing. I mean, didn't they call it the trial of the century at one point?
Yeah, there's a lot of trial of the centuries around them. But yeah, there's a lot of those. But yeah, it was an incredibly sensational trial. And that's also where a lot of the misinformation about her comes from, is that journalism in the 1890s, I mean, journalism in the 1900s, 1910s, 1920s, for quite a long time was not super reliable, and it was meant to sell papers. So it was very sensational. And so these outlandish things would get printed that oftentimes had very little basis in actual fact, and no one's fact checking it. So it becomes fact, because, like, if I'm researching and I'm looking at a newspaper, I'm like, well, newspaper said it must be true. And so anytime you're looking at historical cases, and we see this with Belle Gunness too, because she killed around the same time, you have to be real careful digging through newspaper archives, because oftentimes what they're reporting may or may not have actually happened. So
another thing I think I haven't seen, and again, I am not a true crime expert, guys. I am a novice here. This is our expert, our queen. She will correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I have seen, I have an interest particularly in female killers, but I've never seen them sexualized the way our male killers are. Like, it seems like Dahmer, Bundy, all of them, they end up having women who are putting them on these pedestals, writing them letters, like people like Ramirez and stuff. It's like, it's really weird and really gross. But is that the case with female killers?
I think a lot of it is partially because by the time a lot of and again, speaking specifically to female serial killers, a lot of them are older when they're caught. And so, and we as a society do not sexualize older women. We might sexualize older men.
Yeah. I mean, there's the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe is based on this.
Oh, absolutely. But we do not sexualize older women. So, like, Dorothea Puente is one that comes to mind, who looked older than she was. She was maybe in her 60s when she was caught. And anyone at home who's saying that's not correct, you're probably right. But she was older, and she looked older. She looked like this little old lady. So you have the women like her where you're like, well, she's grandma. And so I do think there's a little of that component. You do have this idea of the Black Widow killer, but I think the closest you come to sort of sexualizing women like that is more the idea as opposed to in practice. So and honestly, a lot of the women too that we have who killed, you have a lot of nurses who were angels of mercy killers. So the motivations presented something very, very different. So I think that might contribute to it as well. I also think it's just, ladies, raise your standards, please. Raise your standards. Just could we stop? Could we not look at Ted Bundy and be like, oh, but he was no.
I don't think a lot of men have this, like, there is this stigma of like a bad boy that you can tame. And then, I don't know if men really have that as much. I think there is to a small degree. I have seen, especially in like some vampire novels. So I know it must exist, but it doesn't seem to be as prevalent.
Well, again, I think you have that femme fatale, but that's a very different thing because a femme fatale is dangerous, but she's sexual. So she's presented as being sexual, and the danger is oftentimes rooted in her sexuality, where, again, Dorothea Puente is not someone you look at and think, oh yeah, she was seducing.
Well,
women.
And I think there's a difference to it too, because I think with the bad boys, a lot of women want to believe there is a soft interior, whereas with men, I mean, I know, especially with like your film noirs, your femme fatales, the whole idea is that she would come to him initially with the power, but eventually through sex or murder or something throughout the film, he gets the power. He takes the power from her. He's not interested in finding out if she's vulnerable underneath. He's interested in taking that position of power from her.
Mm-hmm. And it's that temporary temptation that, like, she makes you stray from the good path, but at the end you go back to your, the girl next door kind of thing, and all is forgiven because she's sweet and kind and everything. So I think the cautionary tale of a femme fatale is one thing, but and again, we're looking at two killers where you could make an argument this is not the case. Or I'm sorry, one killer and one alleged killer. But where there is a sexual component to a lot of male serial killers' killings, there is not a sexual component to as many female serial killers' killings. Now, again, not exclusively. But
what about when you get to like Eileen Wuornos and stuff?
That's
there's another one. I found this out recently and I was like, oh my God, I need to talk to Kim about this. There's, what do they call her? The killer geisha? And she kept the men's genitals.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, what?
Not exclusively. But
oh my God, that'd be a great double pairing. Maybe we should do Eileen Wuornos and the killer geisha sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and see, what's interesting about Eileen too is there was severe trauma involved in that.
Yeah.
So hers wasn't typical on a lot of levels. And again, Belle Gunness, there is some stories associated with her early life that suggest there may have been some trauma involved for her as well, but none of it is anything I've ever been able to find concrete evidence on, only stories that have been passed down.
I think that is, go ahead.
Oh, I was to say part of that is because Belle Gunness was born in Norway. So all of her early life, we have very few records on because it was Norway in the 1800s.
Yeah, I think these two, they're around the same time is when they became kind of well known, as around the turn of the century. And what's difficult about that is the way crime scenes were handled, the way investigations took place. So much of this is just left up to speculation. Like, I don't know if we'll ever have all the answers. But it makes it interesting to kind of I don't know, explore and talk about.
Well, with Belle, there is no doubt she killed people. A lot of the mystery comes down to exactly how many. But
yeah, I heard it's between 14 and 40, and there's a big mystery thing there that I'm gonna ask you about.
I was gonna say there's a huge mystery there that is one of my favorite elements of the case.
It's been keeping me up. I've been thinking about this a lot. I think you know what I'm going to be asking you, but to give you guys a little teaser of what I'm going to be asking her, where's the head? Okay, so we're going to talk about that later. We're going to put a pin in that.
Question. You should ask that always. Where is the head?
Exactly. I do want to thank everyone who's joining us here in the chat. Looks like we got Haunted by Horror, who recently joined the B-Movie Coven. Thank you so much. That is our channel memberships on YouTube and Patreon. And we also got Fiore Grimaldi, The Fantastic Oracle. And if you are a member of the B-Movie Coven, I post member-exclusive videos every week. And we have a game night and a movie night every month, too. So that's pretty sweet. Hey, Nightmare Files is here. All right, so let's talk some Lizzie Borden.
All right.
Lizzie Borden, I feel like that's one like I heard about as a kid even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's hardcore pop culture.
And it's crazy because there's some things I think a lot of us assume we know about Lizzie Borden, but one, she was found not guilty.
She was.
So as far as what we have in criminal records, she never killed anybody. And if she did kill anybody, it would have been 2 people that she was accused of killing. So considering this was not a serial killer, despite, whatever Christina Ricci show you're watching. I love her, though. I love her.
I love her. I did not love that show, but I love her.
My friend's dad, he was obsessed with that show, and I would go watch it with him. He was like, that Lizzie Borden's.
I think it's kind of similar to the Monsters. They just did Ed Gein, and I cannot watch those. They make me angry.
You're going to be pretty angry because the next one is going to be Lizzie Borden. And guess who's back? Charlie Hunnam, who played Ed Gein, is going to be playing Lizzie's father.
Wait. I have notes. I have notes.
I didn't cast it.
I know, but I have notes. And this is no shade to Andrew Borden. He is not what I would call hot.
I mean,
the way that
look at that beautifully groomed beard.
Distinguished. But I'm sorry. This is okay. Age-wise, that barely makes any sense.
It really, really doesn't make sense at all. And that's, I think, the problem. I mean, we're going off on, to a side tangent here, but I think the problem with the monster series in general is they try to take horrific things that have happened in the past and they cast these very hot, sexy actors in it, and it kind of detracts from the point.
When she was 32. She had just turned 32. And Andrew Borden I think he was 69 when he was murdered. So this is okay.
I don't get it. They've shown who they cast as Lizzie too. And the weird part is if you looked at the promotional materials, you'd think, oh, are they going to play a couple in something? Because then all the pictures together.
That's what I was thinking.
No, he plays her father.
Or even like the uncle was staying with them.
Yeah, I have questions about that too. I have so many questions. Oh my gosh, Kim, I went down the rabbit hole. I went all the way down. I was digging through there, getting all dirty, and then just tucking in little questions to ask my friend Kim, who knows all about this stuff. Hey, our 2 guys, the Grave Plot podcast, Taylor and Tony. You say, hello. 2 of our favorite people in one place. Well, we are equal fans of you. And Nightmare Files says he just did a video on Lizzie Borden not too long ago. He's a really good channel where he covers a lot of spooky stuff.
Oh, I love that. I'll have to check that out.
Oh, thanks, Adam. My audio's excellent tonight. It's because I put the microphone right in front of my giant head. It's true. It's really big. But the worst part is that my husband, Danny, has a small head. And once we asked our friend, we're like, so what is it? Is it that I have a big head or he has a small head? And our friend was like, both?
Yeah. Two things can be true.
Both can be true. Yeah. So the picture I have here is of Andrew Borden. And yeah, he was quite a bit older. We also have this picture here from, these are pictures I'm using from your PowerPoint. So look at that beard, man.
There. Yeah, that was a younger Andrew Borden. Mm-hmm.
So what I found out about Andrew Borden was he was a bit of a miser. He was a penny pincher. Even though he was relatively wealthy, from what I understand, he did not spend a lot of money on extravagances. So how true is that?
Actually, okay. So this is one of those things that gets reported and is actually doing Andrew a great disservice. Because he was a very well-off man. He was a self-made man. He worked as a cabinet maker and later an undertaker, which I think is great. But he was actually quite generous with family.
I heard that he gave away like a lot of property and stuff.
A lot of property. In fact, some of the conflict that started between Abby and the girls, because understand, so you have Lizzie, obviously, but Lizzie's older sister, Emma, who was about 10 or so years older than Lizzie, 9-10 years older than Lizzie, because Lizzie's mom died when she was about, I believe it was 3 years old.
Yeah, so this is Lizzie and her mom here, right?
No, that's not Lizzie. That's actually her sister, Emma.
Okay.
That's Emma. Yeah, that was because Emma was born first, then there was another daughter named Alice who died when she was about just shy of being 2 years old. And then Sarah gave birth to Lizzie in 1860. Emma was 9. Emma was 9 when she gave birth to her. And her given name actually was Lizzie, not Elizabeth. So
and her middle name's Andrew, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, because Lizzie and her father were quite close.
Well, so that was common back then too. And Anne Rice's middle name's Harold. It was not uncommon at the time.
It was not uncommon. That is a young Emma right there. So that is Emma around the age when a little older than when Lizzie was born. So Emma took on the role of being Lizzie's mother figure. And she took her role very, very seriously after their mother died. And Andrew remarried in 1865, and that's to Abby. Yeah, yes. Abby right there, who was, she was 37 when she got married. And a lot of people thought that the marriage was less about, I love you. No, I love you. No, you and more just like, hey, man, I got 2 kids and I'm an important man. I need somebody to like take care of my children, take care of my household, and who has the same values I have. Does that sound cool? Because you're 37 and at that age, that makes you a spinster.
Yeah.
And it was an attractive offer because, you know, you've got this guy who's well off. He's a kind enough man. And I think they had some level of affection for each other, if not like a passionate love affair. So they got married. And what's interesting is that Abby often gets portrayed as being very cold.
Well, there's even a movie that they try to put this whole wicked stepmother thing, but I heard a lot of accounts saying that she was a nice stepmother.
Yeah.
Lizzie and Emma just despised her, but it seemed like it wasn't about her personality, right?
And that's also not entirely true.
Okay.
And this is what makes me mad about how the media has chosen to portray this case, because it's a lot more complicated than just she was the wicked stepmother and they didn't get along. So Abby was known as she was quiet, she was reserved, but like very good is what all the people who knew her said. She was very mild, she was very good, and that Lizzie specifically did not have a problem with Abby and actually called her mother until about 1887, which is 5 years prior to the murder.
I did read that there was a period where Lizzie withdrew from like her entire family. Like she stopped talking to people so much. Is that right?
Not entirely.
I want to back up a little bit and ask about something. So from what I understand, what I had read is that Lizzie and Emma were unhappy with their father and the way he spent his money. Their father, I guess, was very practical, and they wanted to spend money on extravagant things. They wanted to have servants. They wanted to have a big house on the hill, and he was not about to let that happen. And other things too, like I guess they had a housekeeper, and and I can't remember her name was, but
Well, there's
they
Bridget,
called her
who was there.
Bridget. Yes,
Yeah.
but they called her Maggie because that was the name of the last housekeeper. So like on paper, it sounds like these girls were pretty snobby. Would you say that's accurate?
A lot of their behavior was, particularly Emma actually was the snatchier of the two to Abby's face.
Mm-hmm.
Emma was the one who would full on sometimes be like, I'm not coming home. I don't want to eat with you guys. I'm going to go do something else. So what really came to head was that Abby had a much younger sister named Bertie. Bertie was like decades younger than Abby. And Abby was incredibly close with Bertie. And Bertie's family was not as well off. And they were going to lose their home. So Abby asked Andrew to help. So Andrew bought this house, bought her sister's house, and gave the deed of the house to Abby. And the girls had a humongous problem with this. And what's ridiculous is that he was like, okay, I want to start a whole thing. So he bought another property, or he turned over a property. I believe he already owned a property to them. It was a rental property. It belonged to their grandfather. And he was like, great, you can collect rents on it. Here's some income. But then that meant they had to manage this property. And they're like, this is so hard. And so they bought it back he bought it back for like double what it was worth. So $5,000 at the time, which by now is like $170,000. So the girls were getting money from him, but they started to get really jealous of the money that was being given specifically to Abby's family. And that's what caused the initial rift. And in regards to the house, like they wanted the nicer house on the hill or whatever, there was a nicer part of the city that one of them had a big thing about moving there, but their house was perfectly nice.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of their house. It looks really nice. I guess for the amount of money they had, from what I understand, the girls wanted more, like more other people who made that kind of money had.
They wanted to live in the Shishi part of town, and where they lived wasn't technically the Shishi part of town. But
that's a beautiful house.
Liked about this, and they did have indoor plumbing. There was one of the reasons given is they didn't have indoor plumbing, and that's not true. They had plumbing in the basement, but that Andrew liked that this was a really short walk to his office, and so because he liked coming home for lunch, so he was like, I like this house. It's a good size house for the four of us. There's plenty of room. We have a servant named Bridget, who you're right, they all called her Maggie. So, which was either
I guess the parents didn't call her that. They called her Bridget, but the girls did, right?
The girls called her Maggie. But it was, what we don't really know was it something, because it's sometimes portrayed as something kind of affectionate, that it was like a silly nickname they did. Or it could be that the last one was named Maggie.
That's what I heard, that they just didn't care. The last one was named Maggie, so you're Maggie too.
We don't know. That's one of those things of like, we can infer one way or the other. There is no, other than knowing she was referred to as Maggie, we do not know we don't even know how she felt about it.
Yeah.
So it's hard when you have those little snippets of data, because you know this, and it's really easy to want to put our own feelings onto it, but we don't know.
Well, the reason I bring this up is these are a lot of the things that I think people use to damn Lizzie's character. So I'm bringing these up, not necessarily because I believe them, because I think I want to get into like the facts of it and stuff, but the things that may paint Lizzie in a bad light and maybe made it easy to think that she did these horrible things. Another thing I found out about is Lizzie was a notorious shoplifter. Even though she really didn't have to be, she had plenty of money. And it got to the point where her father would just be like, yeah, just send me the bill and just let her do it. Like she was doing it like in a Winona Ryder for the thrill kind of way.
Am I debunking stuff now, or am I waiting?
Go ahead. No, debunk it.
No, not true. There is no evidence there was a, I actually have the article somewhere in my notes here.
That's why we have you on as an expert, because these are things I'm just reading as like a casual person checking out things casually. These are the things I'm finding. And so it's nice to go to an expert and get the real story.
persistent rumors that has stuck with her. Okay, so there was an accusation of shoplifting at one point, and this was post her being found not guilty.
Yeah, I know about that. There's one afterwards, and then I guess they said there was a bunch as a child.
That was what, if you start tracing it, that the rumors of her being a shoplifter did not start until February of 1897, which was years after the murders. And at this point, her reputation was in tatters, and there was a misunderstanding regarding a purchase of a jewelry thing that was resolved. But that is actually the only written record that we can find that definitively looks at the shoplifting as being an issue. All references to it happened post 1897.
This makes me think a lot of like these days when someone's canceled and people have to bring up all the receipts from everything they've ever done. Like they're really digging to find all this stuff on Lizzie. And that's why I want to ask about it, because I actually... I have some opinions on this. We're going to get into it in a little bit. But walk us through like Lizzie's life up until the murder.
So what we know about her, we know she was active in the church. We know she taught Sunday school to Chinese immigrants. We know she spent a couple months in Europe with friends when she was younger. There was a book by Sarah Miller that did a bunch of research into her early life. And according to Sarah Miller, she liked orange sherbet, pansies, and was good at needlework. So there you go. What's weird is that her eye color is highly debated. I find that such a strange
thing.
Right? It's reported anywhere from ice blue to brown to gray.
That's very interesting.
That's a huge spectrum. Her school principal described
Though I will say, I mean, having blue eyes myself, especially if you got like a bit of yellow in them, like if my eyes are watery, they look more green. So I guess but then I've never been asked if I have brown eyes. So I don't know. That's bizarre.
I'm like, okay, yeah, blue gray, that makes sense. But brown?
Brown? Maybe she had one eye that was one that was the other.
Maybe. Her school principal talked about her as being subject to varying moods, which I'm like, same girl, same.
Yes.
Yes, we've all been there. But apparently was, I guess, like a polite way of saying she had a temper, but also same girl, same. What's hard, I mean, it's kind of what we just talked about, is that a lot of times you don't have people commenting until after the fact. So after something has happened, people are being spoken to. And so at that point, there's a lot of bias involved in what is being reported.
Freaking Adam. She had one brown eye. But yeah, I think it does color. Like when someone passes away, now everyone's dredging up all their happy memories, you know, and when someone does something bad, they're like, oh, I had that incident with them too. So yeah, I think that definitely provides a basis for some kind of revisionist history.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and we know that both her and Emma were more than happy to let Bridget and Abby be the ones to run the house. They really had no desire to be involved in the running of the household. We know that about a year before the murders, there was a robbery at the Borden home in the middle of the day. And this kind of becomes a sticking point for some people. There was money and some gold and other small items taken. Andrew reported it to the police. It was never solved, and then he unreported it.
Why do you think he unreported it?
There are a lot of theories, and one of the popular theories is that he unreported it because it was Lizzie.
Because my instinct would be because it was a family member.
Because it was a family member or something. The problem is and Andrew did start locking all the doors at this point. He had the only key to open all the doors. He locked like every door in the house because a lot of the rooms had individual locks on them. So it is possible, and it is possible it was Lizzie, but we lack proper evidence to know one way or another. The barn was broken into twice. Which at some point I'm like, why don't you just get better security? They had, they had a couple locks on the front door. And if it was Lizzie, you kind of come back to what's the motivation for robbing your own house, because outside of maybe wanting some more freedom, again, her father was fairly generous with her money. She did not lack for money.
I have a question. So somebody I think is a person of interest in this that I don't find a lot of information on is Andrew's brother. How do you think he factors into this? And could he have broken into the house?
So that was, are you talking about John? Or are you talking about...
Again, novice here. I heard there was a brother he had that lived with him briefly and that he had a big falling out with over some property.
Because their Uncle John was staying with them at the time of the murders.
The reason I mention this is because I've read some theories that believe that his brother, Andrew, was the one that killed him and Abby.
He had siblings. None of them ever lived in the Borden house, to my knowledge. John Morse lived in the house, but that was actually Sarah, his first wife. That was Emma and Lizzie's mother's brother.
The brother I read about, they said that they had an argument over property. Like he wanted money or property from Andrew, and Andrew had refused. And so some people, I guess, thought that might be motivation for him to have been the one to have come in and murdered Andrew and his wife. Though I don't understand why he would murder. I mean, we're going to get to it, but Abby is murdered first.
I know there was rumors about an illegitimate son. I don't remember ever reading anything about having a falling out with his brother that relates to the case.
I'll try and find that. I mean, like I said, these are just things I've been reading online. But we'll get into some suspects in addition to Lizzie. Are you ready to talk about the murders?
I'm always.
I'm not sure. So this is a really interesting case because it's very old. And a lot of times we don't have crime scene photos. This one, there are crime scene photos. However, they are graphic. And while I have no problem showing them, I think YouTube probably would. So you can Google them.
They're easy to find. It should be noted in particularly Abby's pictures, the body was moved.
I think I can show this because it doesn't show anything too bad.
Yeah, they're not. They're by
That's
today's
Abby's body.
They're pretty tame. Her body was moved prior to the taking of the picture.
Okay.
And that's just the fun little note about how unsecure crime scenes were.
Yeah. That's a big part of the problem with this case and why we can't revisit it as a now in modern day with our technology, because the DNA has been completely tampered with.
Oh, yeah.
And so many people walked in and out of that house. There was no preserving the crime scene at all. But the fact that there's pictures is kind of remarkable.
Yeah, the crime scene photos are actually pretty. It's weird to say pretty cool, but like they're pretty good.
Yeah, the one of her dad is kind of yuck. So I'm not going to show that one.
But, you can find edited versions of it too online if you ever feel like I want to see. But
walk us back to that day and the events as we know them.
So it's August 4th of 1892. It's Massachusetts, so it's warm out, but it was not actually the warmest day it could be. At about 7 a.m., Andrew and Abby were having breakfast with John Morse, and that's Emma and Lizzie's maternal uncle who had been staying with them. He had arrived the night before. He left at about 8:45 a.m. He was visiting relatives. This is such a fun, weird detail. He got on a streetcar with 6 priests. I don't know.
Because why?
It's just.
I do have one more question to ask you. I believe this takes place prior to the murder, but it was something that I heard in a podcast I listened to about everyone being really sick for like a week because they were eating this soup, and some people believing that potentially it could have been poisoned.
There is rumors about poisoning. What's more likely is that they were eating fish in real hot weather. So they were
eating this soup like every day for like 5 days, which again, I thought this guy's wealthy. So why are they doing this? But like they were so sick that even the housekeeper was vomiting as she was preparing it.
No, it's most likely it was food poisoning.
Yeah.
But there are those who look at it saying, "Oh, look, the family was poisoned."
Dude, we live in modern days, and I'm not going to eat a fish fillet that's been out more than 3 hours.
I'm not going to eat a fish when I can in Massachusetts in August when I don't think I have a refrigerator. Like that's
Exactly. Oh, so gross. So gross.
No, that's nothing about that sounds good.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about that takes place before the day of the murder is Lizzie tried to access drugs from her doctor.
Are you talking about the
she tried to, okay, so what I heard,
she went to the pharmacy to try to get the cyanide.
I don't remember if it was, I don't remember what the drug was. She tried to tell them that she had a sealskin outfit.
No, it wasn't her doctor, it was the drugstore.
Okay, tell me about that.
She went to the drugstore. She said she had a sealskin like cloak or something that she had to clean, and was trying to get a chemical that is poison if ingested, and they wouldn't sell it to her. And that became a point in the trial.
Okay. Do you want to come back to that, or do you want to explore that more now?
Back to that, because I think I actually even have some of the pharmacist testimony in my notes somewhere. But yeah, that became a big point in the trial.
Okay, we'll come back to that. So I interrupted you. Take us back to the day. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo.
So Andrew left the house at like 9:15 that morning. And at about 9:30, Abby went upstairs to where John had been staying. So she could deal with, like changing the sheets and taking care of the room. Yeah, that's brother John. Well, they're bio moms.
Men were hairy back in the day, dude.
There was a lot of beards. There was a lot of beards happening. No, I mean, I enjoy a beard, so I'm
dude, I bet everybody was hairy. They had like nether region beards too.
Oh yeah,
nobody heard of a razor back in the day. You had little Chewbacca legs.
Shaving all that stuff, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. I like to let my toe beards grow. The little hairs that grow on your toe. And I paint little gnome faces on them.
Called them. She called them her hobbit toes.
Yeah.
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 She loves her hobbit toes.
In the Hobbit world, I think I would be considered I'd be a catch with my hairy feet. So I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely, 10 out of 10. And the little Hobbit, is everyone swiping left or right? You would just be getting.
It would be overwhelming. I should just steer clear of New Zealand. It would just be too much. I'd be like a Backstreet Boy there.
Do you think the Hobbit dating apps, they put pictures of their feet just because?
That's all the picture is. And what dishes you can cook.
And what dishes? So it's just literally like, these are my feet, and this is all food pictures.
And this is what I can cook.
This is like their social media really just is food pictures.
That's all it is.
I'm here for that though. I would enjoy looking at like a Hobbit Instagram account.
Yeah, if I ever need to get my groove back Stella style, I'll hit up New Zealand.
Absolutely.
We got way off topic.
Listen,
Danny's feet are worse than mine. I only have little toe beards. His whole feet are like little Sasquatch feet.
I want to see, now we need to see at some point side-by-side comparisons, and we're going to try to guess whose foot is whom's.
Oh my God. If we went there together, like every Hobbit would try to throuple us. It would be so intense.
If you need to get your Hobbit on as a adorable little throuple, you'd be the, yes. Yes.
How did we get here?
I'm not angry about it. I'm
not angry either. That's what makes having talks with you about this stuff fun. Anybody else, it would get really dark, but no.
It's important to mix up some of the doom and gloom with like conversations about, hobbits. Like,
I think so.
Yeah. No, that's just facts. That's facts.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Their maid's outside cleaning. So Abby's upstairs cleaning. Maid Maggie is cleaning windows. And Andrew gets home at about 10:45 a.m. and Lizzie is there. And Lizzie's like, "Hey, father, I'm gonna help you pull off your boots so I can see your hobbit feet." And gave him his slippers. This was like a weirdly important detail later on.
Okay.
Is that she was very specific. I helped him take off his boots and put on his slippers. And he goes into the sitting room to have a little napsy. And Bridget has been outside cleaning windows, and she's like, this is hard work and I'm tired. So she goes to lay down. And then Lizzie goes out to the barn through the back door because she needed some weights for fishing.
Okay.
She comes back inside at about 11:15 a.m. And that's when she finds her father's body and starts yelling for Bridget. So she says father is hurt and fetch a doctor. So Bridget runs to the doctor's house, but the doctor wasn't there. And Lizzie's like, okay, go fetch a friend. So a neighbor comes over, and Lizzie says, I think my father's dead. And Bridget finds another neighbor and says, Mr. Borden is dead. So the doctor finally arrives, and Lizzie says that she thinks her father has been stabbed or hurt. And they find that, yes, Andrew Borden has been brutally bludgeoned to death.
Do you think it's okay if I show the photo, or do you think it's too much?
Honestly, I've seen it on YouTube things before, so.
Yeah? Let's show it. Okay, guys, prepare, trigger warning or whatever.
If you don't want to see it, then look away.
All right. I mean, it's in black and white.
So,
that's pretty brutal, though. So that's his face that's been bludgeoned in, and it's multiple times, right? This is many whacks.
Yes. Left side of his face was so smashed in, he was unrecognizable. His hands were still warm.
That's the interesting thing about this is, I mean, we haven't talked about the stepmom yet, but he was warm, right? And his blood was still flowing.
Oh, yeah. Well, because
so this couldn't have been very long ago.
He got home 10:45. She found his body 10:15 or 11:15.
Yeah.
So there's about a half hour where the murder would have happened if we're looking at that timeline. He'd been hit somewhere between 10 to 12 times.
Mm-hmm.
And the medical examiner at the time actually said that it was the most ghastly thing he'd ever seen. There was, he had a gap that was 2.5 by 4 inches on the left side of his skull. So at this point, Lizzie's like, someone needs to find Mrs. Borden and tell her what's happened. She was allegedly out visiting a sick friend, but maybe she's home. And so Emma, who had been gone for a couple days, I think at this point, she was getting a telegram that was like, oh, father is ill. They don't say in the telegram he's dead. So Emma's on her way home. So Bridget goes to look for Mrs. Borden, and she goes upstairs to the second floor and finds her in the guest bedroom, in John's bedroom. Yep, and she's face down on the floor. There's blood pooled all around her, and the position of the body suggested she'd been trying to get away from whomever was in the room with her.
Whereas with Andrew, it looked like, I believe people said that they think he might have been sleeping.
He was asleep. Yeah, he'd gone to take a nap. Okay. So he most likely, he may have woken up at the first blow, but he didn't survive, Pat. It was where Abby's, from the way that it looks like she lived through the first few blows, because there were bruises on her face from where she hit the floor. And one of the wounds had a flap of skin that suggested she may have been facing the killer and then turned her head. And then tried to keep scrambling, but then was dead after a few hits. And it appeared she'd been struck about 18 times. Now,
Adam, you're so random. He's like, they have really nice furniture.
It's really delightful. No, look at that. Like, I would totally sit on that delightful little chaise.
You can. We'll talk about the Lizzie Borden house in a little bit.
Now, in Abby's case, the blood had started to coagulate. So it's not just that she was killed prior to Andrew. It's that she had been killed what they think is 1 to 2 hours before.
Has anyone offered an explanation for the vast time discrepancy?
The 1 to 2 hours, or just
why? So, I mean, like, picture this. Someone goes in there, allegedly Lizzie or whomever, kills Abby, and then they have 2 hours, and then they kill Andrew, who's asleep.
Yep. So this becomes a point in the trial. Which
do you want to come back to it when we talk to about the trial, or?
Yeah, let's focus first on.
Sorry, I'm getting off track with my questions.
These are good questions. Mostly, I'm like, I want to keep all of my.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop distracting you.
No. It's good. Listen, we need Hobbit feet. It's necessary. I need all the Hobbit feet. I just like, oh, someone's gonna start sending me pictures of Hobbit feet now.
I'm gonna have to do that as soon as this is over.
Yeah, please do. I need to go about my day and then just randomly get pictures of Hobbit feet from you.
I can make that happen. That's a service I offer to my best friends.
I'm teaching like an 8-hour theater camp tomorrow, and that's gonna keep me going.
Oh yeah, no, I'll get you some good ones.
Yes. So they found Abby's body. Lizzie has told her stepmother is dead, and she loses it. Police arrive. They're searching the house. They're questioning Lizzie and Bridget. Was anyone else here? Uncle had been here, but he had left. Were there witnesses? They're just trying to figure things out. But what's interesting is that at least in this first day, word is spreading and people are panicking. There was actually people who thought Jack the Ripper had come to town.
From London?
Yeah. These are the same people who think that Jack the Ripper is the same person as H.H. Holmes.
Did they think Andrew Borden was a prostitute?
We don't know what he was doing his off time.
Maybe he's got pictures of his feet.
Andrew.
We need to have a whole separate stream just about feet now.
We really do.
That's insane. That's crazy. And wasn't there a theory that some people thought that like a madman had just broken into their house and killed them?
Yes, and there actually is something to that theory.
Okay.
So press save on that.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, I suppose we can talk about it. So
do you want to move ahead and talk about the trial, or is there something else we need to talk about?
Well, this was something that Lizzie reported to the police when she was getting questioned. That an angry stranger banged on the door.
Okay.
And a neighbor would back that up. A neighbor would report seeing a strange person skulking around. She did not let people initially search her room.
Okay.
And because she was a lady.
Dude, she probably had like her knickers and stuff out.
Well, and
that's what you called them back then, dude. Your little bloomers.
The little bloomers. And they would not go through her delicate underthings because she was just a lady.
Yes.
So her things were not searched. And this also became an important detail later. Her behavior was starting to seem odd to a lot of people.
What was her behavior? Like, was she frantic?
So some people were saying, anytime anyone was referring to Abby as her mother, she was not doing herself any favors here. She would say, she is not my mother. She is my stepmother. My mother is dead. Which, like, okay, I get it. But also, girl,
you're not doing yourself any favors.
You're not doing yourself any favors.
But it's got to be an extremely high stress situation to be in. So I don't know if there's a right way, but yeah, you're right. Probably not being petty.
There was, because like even so, one of the officers commented about how she didn't seem shaken up enough, that she was calm and collected, that it seems she wasn't agitated. She didn't seem sad. At one point she changed her clothes, but that's not that unusual. She was wearing work clothes. But it was something else that some people were like, well, that's strange. And a big point of question was, okay, let's say somebody came into the house, killed Abby, waited around to kill Andrew. Lizzie was home. Bridget was home. Why were they not killed too? And that's a fair point. They were struggling a little.
Lizzie was in the barn though, right?
She was in the barn. Yes.
Where was Emma?
Emma was out of town.
Okay, so, Bridget was home. Where was Bridget?
Bridget was home. Bridget had gone to lay down. She'd been outside cleaning and was probably outside cleaning when Abby was killed. But then by the time Mr. Borden got home, she'd gone to lie down because she'd been out cleaning in the hot weather. And what ended up becoming a point with her demeanor is that I believe she'd been given something by one of the doctors. And so some of what you were seeing in her behavior was the fact that she was like drugged.
Well, yeah.
Because she had been hysterical initially.
And in those days, didn't they just give you morphine for everything?
Yes. So it's kind of unfair to look at her demeanor when I was like, girl is on morphine.
Yeah.
There was a neighbor who'd come forward to say she'd seen Lizzie with some clothing that had some blood on it, and Lizzie had burned the dress. But this would become a point in the trial because her sister would actually testify that she had told her to burn the dress because it was ruined, and then it was actually paint and not blood.
And that was considered to be very unusual at the time because you never got rid of your dresses. You would mend it and stuff, but these were wealthy people.
And these were work clothes. It was like work clothes that got paint all over it. And so she was like, what should I do with this? And Emma was like, just throw it in the fire. Like,
the other question I have is I heard that when they initially asked Lizzie about it, the blood on her garments, she told them it was menstrual blood.
Yes. She was on her period. So there is also any blood that may have been found on something, because they didn't find anything with mass amounts of blood.
That's not something I want to ask you about. So let's talk about the crime scene. You said that where Abby's body was found, she was in a pool of blood, but there wasn't like blood everywhere. This wasn't like a Dexter crime scene, right?
I mean, there was blood. Anyone bludgeoning someone with an axe or a hatchet that many times is going to get blood on them. There's no way.
And then where Andrew was, it was mostly around the lounge chair that he was on, right?
Yes. Although, so this is another kind of interesting detail. Can you go back to Andrew's picture?
Yes. Bum, ba-da-bum. Here we go.
Or the crime scene picture, excuse me.
Okay. That one.
So there is a theory that whomever killed Andrew, if it was Lizzie or if it was someone else, put Andrew's jacket on, bludgeoned him, and it's a little hard to see, but his head under it is his jacket. He is resting on his jacket.
So he could have been using it as a pillow.
He could have been using it as a pillow, or the theory involves the fact that if I was trying to keep myself from getting covered in blood.
Well, that's something that's interesting because Lizzie only had that little tiny bit of blood on her. So she's bludgeoning two people. She should be covered in it unless she had one of those raincoats from American Psycho.
No one would question there being blood on the jacket because it's under his head. But if I put the jacket on, bludgeoned him to death, and then took the jacket off and put it under his head, any blood on it would just appear to have been blood that soaked in.
That would be clever. It
would be real clever. So that's actually one of the theories I find to be really, really interesting.
Yeah. They would have had to do it quick too, because like you said, he was still warm. So this has been like half an hour after he's dead. And then you have to think of all the time that Lizzie spent knocking on the door, talking to them, explaining to them, getting them to come over, get them walking back. So not a lot of time was taken after this murder, or at least when, Lizzie found them. So that could explain how you could quickly dispose of us.
There's that
blood.
Also delightful theory that a lot of the movies leaned into, which is showing her completely naked doing all the murders.
Mm-hmm.
Which, sure.
Okay, but this isn't like nowadays where you have your heat lamp in your shower and you have all that stuff. No, they would have a bathtub that they would have to fill. There's no way. Her hair would be wet. She'd have it in her hair.
Getting redressed for a lady with how many freaking layers and corsets and dresses and underdresses and that's at the point too where a lot of people theorize that Bridget was in on it because there's no way she easily could have done this by herself. But these are all things that we lack proper evidence. We have theories, but we do not have proof. Now, the police did find a hatchet in the basement on August 8th. So this is a couple days after.
And it's just the hatchet head, right?
Just the hatchet head. The handle was broken off. And it was a clean break, which was something they thought was odd. They didn't know if it was the murder weapon, but it seemed to have like hair on it and rust or blood. So they're like, oh, this must be the murder weapon.
What other explanation would there be for removing the handle of the axe?
I mean,
because my thought would be you want to burn the axe handle because it was used in the crime, but
why?
But then why keep the axe head? And then wouldn't there be evidence that some kind of burning took place? I mean, I guess there is because she burned the dress.
And like, if there's her fingerprints are on it, well, yeah, it's at her house. Of course, her fingerprints.
They don't really do a lot of the fingerprinting and stuff. Then
they did do some fingerprinting, but yeah, it wouldn't really.
But it's her axe. Her fingerprints would be on it anyway. So who would care?
Who would care? So it's that as a like. This is. I mean, if there was blood, well, okay. Press save on the hatchet.
Okay.
Because there's stuff that they discovered, and then there's what was discovered in the trial. And a lot of times there was like, we use this as a reason why we should arrest somebody, because she was arrested on August 12th.
So do you want to talk about her trial?
Yeah, let's talk about her trial.
Her trial, I think, is one of the more interesting things about this. I think it's her trial that led to there being that nursery rhyme. I mean, is it fair to call it a nursery rhyme? You know, Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. That whole, you guys have heard it before. So, the trial was huge. This is like O.J. Simpson huge. You know, they didn't have television, but it was all over the newspapers. It was something people gossiped about. People had a lot of opinions about it. And that's another reason why the crime scene was so compromised is there's just so many people like looky-loos going all through the house and all kinds of things.
But what's interesting is how many people were utterly appalled that a woman was being held for these murders. There was letters being written to the prosecutor, because there was a woman who wrote to the prosecutor, and she wrote, I love this, "The rights of a noble woman have been trampled upon by you and your bloodhounds, who, having run your suspicions to their end, are gloating over their object." So like,
dude, you could have been a lady back then. I almost clutched my pearls.
Thank you. I practice clutching my own pearls a lot. Yeah. Just, you know.
I wore them today just so I could clutch them.
It's necessary.
I know, right? I just like to have a hand near my boobs anyway to comfort them when scary things happen. They're not like me. They can't handle scary stuff.
I just clutch my boobs, so.
Exactly. It's like, they're there, girls. It's going to be fine.
But no, people were like, because I think there was this idea of it wasn't just that she was a woman. It's that she was a woman of a certain social status. And so if this good Christian woman could be arrested for murder.
Yeah, she was involved with the church. This is also her father.
Her father. But this is also where you start to see a lot of the facts warping.
But there are also things, too, that I think made people suspicious of her. I mean, today we wouldn't think being 31 is an odd age to be unmarried. But back in those days, she's pretty much a spinster. And that's kind of strange because she comes from a lot of money. She would have a lot of suitors.
She would, but there's also her and Andrew had kind of a really interesting relationship. There was, and varying accounts today, she loved her father dearly. They were.
Yeah, but you can love your father, but don't love your father.
But they were very, very close. And there was this idea that he was the only man in her life. And also there is plenty of evidence to suggest that Lizzie was queer in some capacity.
Well, and that's the other thing. She doesn't have to get married. She's independently wealthy. And her father would make sure that she was set for life. I did want to ask you about that too. There is that movie Lizzie that implies, and I've heard that this was also based on an actual rumor. I'm talking about the one that has Chloe Sevigny as Lizzie Borden and Kristen Stewart. I haven't seen it, but isn't Kristen Stewart supposed to be Bridget, the house, the one that she doesn't even call by her name? Was it really a thing that people thought that they could have a thing?
That's something that has become a really popular contemporary idea, that they were having a thing. The idea that Bridget helped is not new. And Bridget took the stand and testified. So she did testify in the trial. But the idea that Bridget could have been involved isn't new. I think then it was more about probably money than anything else.
What would Bridget have to gain?
Money.
But would she wouldn't inherit anything unless Lizzie gave her something,
no,
right?
But so this was kind of an interesting sticking point, that when Andrew died and Abby died. Oh, okay. So when they died, there was no will found, which was interesting. because Andrew was 69 years old. Abby was, I think, 62 or so. For that time period, they're not spring chickens. If there had been no will, and Andrew was killed first, Abby would have been next in line to inherit things. If Abby was then killed, her family would have inherited things. But Abby was killed first.
Which means Andrew is her next of kin, and then when he dies, his daughters are his next of kin.
Yes. So the girls got everything. So in her parents dying, Lizzie became an even wealthier woman. So yeah, she easily could have said to Bridget, listen, help me do this thing. I'll pay you a bunch of money. Now, there is no evidence to suggest that happens. And they didn't stay in contact post this.
We have already said that, Lizzie's found not guilty and stuff. So I don't think that's a big spoiler. But I do
also,
know.
The trial was 130 years ago,
but
y'all.
it's remarkable. I mean, I was talking to Danny about this not too long ago, and he was saying how strange it was how this case is so notorious. And he was an adult when he found out that Lizzie was found not guilty.
Oh, yeah.
But then I think it's a lot like the O.J. Simpson trial. Like a lot of people, it was such a big thing that I think younger people these days are like, really? He was not guilty? That's so crazy. Because it was just such a big trial.
But at the end of the day, they lacked evidence.
But the thing I was going to ask about that I think is another thing that points to it potentially being money, because, we talked about how they wanted to live up in the fancier part of town, right? And after the trial, after she's found not guilty, oddly, I think Lizzie stays in town. She doesn't move. She doesn't start over. She moves to that fancy part. She lives up on a hill in this gorgeous house. Mm-hmm. She becomes a recluse. She has a lot of pets, a lot of dogs.
And potentially some affairs.
Yeah. So she finally got that extravagant life that she wanted,
Mm-hmm.
But how did Bridget live? I don't think I've heard about her.
Oh, Bridget got married. Bridget, in fact, one of the pictures in my PowerPoint near the end is Bridget as an older woman. So she lived that's Bridget as an older woman. She went on, didn't live an extravagant life. There was no evidence to suggest she had money.
Because I think that would be really obvious if after this, Bridget was able to buy herself some extravagant house, because Bridget wouldn't have inherited anything. It would be very obvious that Lizzie gave her money.
Yeah, and that's part of what I think anyone who bothers to look a little deeper looks at the case and says it doesn't make sense. It
doesn't.
She lived until, God, I think she was in her 80s when she finally died. She
looks so put out there in that picture.
But she never gave interviews. She never
Same with Lizzie,
anything.
right?
Yeah.
Lizzie never talked to anybody.
No, Lizzie. Well, and Lizzie and her sister had a big falling out.
Shit, dude. I'm just gonna tell you this now because we've already been talking for an hour. This might just have to be a Lizzie Borden stream. Maybe we'll have to do Belle another day because I still have so much to ask you about. This is interesting, though.
It's I find because the legend of Lizzie, to your point, I first heard this case when I was young, and so much of what I thought I knew about it, I was like, oh, that's not what I was told, or not what the movies tell me, or not what Christina Ricci's TV show has lied to me.
Yeah, that show, I have fond memories of it, like I said, because I watched it with my friend's dad a lot before he passed away. But no, that's just pure sensationalism.
Pure sensationalism. Yeah, it really is.
I'm bummed to find out that you told me the Lizzie movie wasn't very good. And even looking on LETTERBOXD, a lot of people are kind of lukewarm on it.
Yeah, and to be fair, I saw it in theaters when it first came out, which was, I think, 2018. Mm-hmm. So it's been 7 years since I've seen it. I think I just remember feeling a little disappointed, because I think I thought it was going to be more something. I don't know how I feel. I always feel a little iffy. The way Andrew Borden is portrayed in it is a hardcore predator, a horrible, horrible sexual predator.
That is something I've heard before, though, that some people believe he might have abused Lizzie. but there's no
There's
evidence,
nothing
right?
to suggest that. Again, she had like flowers sent to his grave every year. Her and her dad had a very close relationship. Now, is it possible there was something else going on? I mean, sure, but there's absolutely nothing to suggest. She only ever spoke fondly of her father.
And when she passed away, she left a lot of money to an animal charity, but the rest of the money was left to making sure somebody cared for her father's grave, which is also the tombstone that is above Abby and her and Emma.
Yes. Yeah. So it's I dislike that the movie portrays him as a sexual predator, particularly because at the end of the day, yeah, we all talk about Lizzie Borden, but 2 people were murdered.
That is true. And it seems like we have no evidence to indicate that they were anything but good people.
And the way history has portrayed these people who were murdered as these horrible human beings or unlikable or cold or predators, I'm like, that's kind of awful. Like,
yeah, there's one of the Lizzie Borden ones, I can't remember which, where they make it seem like her stepmother was really abusive. And from what I've been able to find, there's no evidence that Abby was ever aggressive towards her.
So it's like, did it seem like they didn't live those last couple of years that Abby and the girls had a rough relationship? Yeah. Could you say that about a lot of people and their stepmothers?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone can say, like, you know, if you were to ask somebody, like, you and your parents are very, very close. But I'm sure if something happened and I talked to your neighbors and close family members, they'd be like, oh, well, there was that one argument they had. That's every family in the world. I'm close with my mom, but it doesn't mean we don't have arguments. So I don't think that's fair. I agree with you on that. So let's back up, because I do have some more stuff to talk about Lizzie after the trial. But let's talk about the trial, because I think the trial is so interesting.
God, it was nuts. Like the fact that the skulls had been removed from the bodies.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I just shouted into the mic. I'm so sorry for everyone who's listening. But so I found out that during the trial, they brought out the skulls of Abby and Andrew, and Lizzie fainted.
Well, because they had to. God, this is so bad. I shouldn't be laughing at this, but the skulls were fresh enough that they had to clean them because, you know, they hadn't been dead that long. So you boiled them until, this isn't funny, I don't know why I'm laughing, until everything's fallen off. And then they bring the skulls into the trial. And this actually backfired a little.
So they used this to put it against the axe and see if it matched, right?
See if it matched the wounds.
This again makes me think of that. If the glove don't fit, what?
If the glove don't fit, yeah. And people were appalled that in their minds these bodies were desecrated.
I agree.
Yes. And so, but what's also kind of funny is that this is around the time when the papers, which have been referring to her mostly as Miss Lizzie or Lizzie Borden, start calling her just Lizzie. Which is, it shows the turning in the way people are thinking about her, because they've taken any respect out of her name. So they had a guy take the stand who he had run the contents of the Borden's stomachs because they'd all been ill. So they were trying to figure out, was there poison in their systems? No, there wasn't.
So there was just food poisoning.
It was most likely it was food poisoning.
Well, it wouldn't add up because the entire family was sick.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things you're like, and no, there's so many reasons why it's kind of silly.
Yeah.
They had the hatchet that had the weird spots on it and the hair. They're like, well, but the hatchet. So there was rust on it and there was hair. The hair was cow.
Okay.
Cow hair.
They couldn't tell the difference between cow and human?
They could tell the difference between cow hair and
really rough hair. It's really thick, rough hair.
So
like wire hair.
Weirdness on that hatchet was not from blood. They didn't find any blood on it. They found rust and cow hair.
Maybe a cow killed him.
Maybe a cow killed them. There is a song called Cows with Guns.
Nuh-uh, really?
Oh, it's epic.
I'm writing this down. Who sings it?
Dana Lyons. It's called
That
Cows
sounds
with
amazing.
Guns. And it's all about the cows. It's I did this as a dramatic reading when I was in high school because of course I did. And if anyone knows what I'm talking about, probably not. It was a little bit of a niche thing. I think he came to sing at my school, and I thought it was the funniest thing I ever heard, so I bought his CD.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. I'm gonna look it up.
Dana Lyons, Cows with Guns.
New suspect.
Yeah. One by one, all the pieces of evidence they were bringing forward were BS. The dress that had a little blood on it.
Okay.
There was a teeny tiny little speck of blood, probably from a flea bite.
It just doesn't make any dang sense. Like, if she was going to have blood on it, she'd have blood on it. It wouldn't be a tiny bit of blood.
Yeah.
So even if, hypothetically, she's wearing the jacket, right? She's going to get blood in her hair. She's going to get blood on her face. And we've all blood on our face. You have that redness. Yep. It stains your skin.
It stains your skin, and it's okay. It's if I've got a hatchet and I'm down and up and down and up, it's the up that's bringing the splatter.
Yes, yeah.
And because of how I'm holding the hatchet, because of the position of his body, like, I don't know, anytime I've ever hatcheted someone laying down, I get blood all over me. That's
why you gotta do the whole American Psycho rain jacket thing. But then you gotta get one of those ones that zips all the way up over your face.
You need the Hannibal, because he had his the lovely little weird.
Yeah. That's where you gotta go.
It's the way you gotta go. It's like, you learn so much from television. I love it.
It's true.
Yeah. But yeah, they're just not everything they're bringing forward. People are just like, eh.
So here's something else I want to point out that to me, I think is very suspicious is Lizzie fainted twice that I know of during the trial. She fainted when they brought out the skulls.
Yeah.
And she fainted when she got her not guilty verdict. Yeah. So if she is somebody who can axe her father that she loves in the face repeatedly, axe a woman who's trying to get away from her. I mean, that's some cold-blooded stuff that you got to be pretty strong in the stomach to do that. I don't see somebody who can do that fainting at the sight of skulls.
I mean, there are some people who think she faked it.
But then that's the other thing. I can't see this. Yeah. So, you could tell me about things that happened in the Amber Heard trial, and then I saw it. That's a different thing. Is how they do these things. And you're like, okay, those are some crocodile tears there.
And that comes back to we don't know. There are people who think it was performative to try to play up her womanness because so many people were looking at this saying, how can you accuse a woman? Women are dainty flowers who do not kill people.
If only they knew.
If only they knew. Well, because there was even people who, Lizzie was not, she wasn't a large woman. She was 126 pounds. But I'm sorry, you hit anyone with a hatchet 10 to 18 times, you're going to do some damage.
And that's the thing I find so interesting is so many people, when it comes to, I hear this often actually a lot when it comes to movies, or they're like, well, that's ridiculous that this 4'11" girl who weighs 100 pounds can't do it. I'm sorry, any woman is just as deadly with a gun as a man is. Any woman is just as deadly with a hatchet as a man is. And any woman is just as deadly with a packet of poison as a man is. So unless this is an all-out Roadhouse style brawl, there's no reason why a woman can't kill someone.
Even if I lightly hit someone with a hatchet a dozen times, I'm still gonna kill them.
Yeah, I mean,
if I'm delicately boop, boop.
I will say, Dwayne the Rock Johnson doing it once, the skull's probably gonna go in too, but
like a cantaloupe.
It's still a hatchet, and someone can still kill you with it.
Well, again, Andrew Borden 10 to 12 times, Abby Borden 18 times. It wasn't like they were hit once.
And so to me, that shows that this had to be either by someone who's insane or it's personal.
Personal.
Because they were dead long before the last blow. So either it's personal or they're just insane.
Yeah, and what where I've kind of come to with a lot of the evidence presented is that with what we know, I don't think we have compelling evidence she did it. If she didn't do it, I have no idea who did. There's no, I mean, and
So
that's
who are our
that's
suspects as you are familiar with them?
So alternative suspects, and a lot of people actually look towards that strange man that was seen. The stranger that was seen around, because I mean, that's that weird wild card that nobody expects, right? And that it does, even though it's more rare, you have had cases where it's turned out, yeah, no, it was some random stranger.
And what if he's not random? I mean, Andrew Borden is a very wealthy man. Are we 100% certain that he didn't have any enemies in acquiring his wealth, or that people hadn't come to him? Yeah, he's a landlord. People hadn't come to him saying, hey, can you cut me a break? Hey, can you give me a loan? And he was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. I don't even hardly know you. That's against the rules.
And I think some of what people struggle with is, if that's the case, why come early? And not just, it's not just that they killed Abby first. It's that Abby was in the guest room.
So they went upstairs, right?
They had to seek her out. So it wasn't just like, oh, she stumbled across me breaking into her home and I had to kill her so I could then kill Andrew. It's like, no, she was upstairs changing sheets and was killed. So somebody had to go looking for her.
Or at least we think she was changing seats. I mean, what if she came down to get a glass of water or something and then she was chased up there or something? Or she came down to answer the door.
There's nothing in how, I mean, if she did that, she went back upstairs because she was killed in that room. And she wasn't where there is evidence to suggest she turned to and was like, there's nothing to suggest she was.
Do you think someone could have been looking for something? Was there any evidence that someone had ransacked the house or was searching for something?
No.
Nothing was taken. Nothing was missing.
Nothing was taken. Nothing was missing. Nothing that was obvious. There was a point that gets made sometimes about the barn because of how much dust was in it. But there'd been some other people in the barn. And so if they're saying they didn't see any footprints in there, well, other people were in the barn. So it means that you either are lying or it got covered up somehow. But that is, again, another piece of evidence that Lizzie was lying doesn't hold up.
Do you think Lizzie Borden did it?
I think she was acquitted of the murders. And I think where there is a lot of the evidence that's been used against her is unfair. I struggle with, if it wasn't her, who was it? But I don't know that it was her. I think that
I guess, to put it this way, with the evidence that has been presented, would you have argued for her being guilty or not guilty if you were in the jury?
Not guilty.
I would have said not guilty too, not so much because I 100% think she's innocent, but I just don't think there's enough evidence to say that beyond a reasonable doubt that she did it.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of cases I feel like I find where I turn into this, where I'm like, they did not make their case. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. They did not make their case.
Something else that I think is interesting about this, and when the stuff I was reading about, is at the end when they said that she was not guilty, which she doesn't have to perform. She's won. She does faint. Yes. And on top of that, from what I understand, the entire courtroom was cheering. Yes. So it's not like the OJ thing where I think a lot of people are like, wait, what the fuck? Yeah. You know, a lot of people were angry. And I've even heard of a lot of court cases where there's a not guilty thing and there's people screaming in the courtroom like this is an injustice. The place was cheering. So they've been sitting there, and now, correct me on the timeline here. Was the court case was 3 weeks, right?
Something like that, yeah.
So they've been sitting there for 3 weeks hearing all the details about this. and they believed that she was not guilty enough to cheer for her. There's also a whole bunch of people following this court case. There's people outside. So I think that says something.
Yeah. One, and I think it's also valid with some of the fainting stuff, remembering too that like women were corseted very heavily then. So
yeah, dude, and they probably were, because she's going on trial being like, you want some morphine? Take the edge off. Like they used to back in the day for just what they would call hysteria, women's issues, give you the same amount of morphine they give people in hospice now.
Yeah.
Like it's insane how much morphine they would dole out just all the time. Like, you know, we are not even that carefree with Xanax.
No.
But,
you get some morphine. You get some morphine.
And you have to also imagine like the amount of withdrawals and stuff and all the other just tonics that were being thrown around. And because she's in court, I can't imagine that, one, she's wearing a corset, and two, they're probably giving her something to keep her relaxed.
And I mean, not just corsets, but heavy dresses, heavy restrictive dresses, long sleeves, high. I mean, you can see it in this dress she's wearing here. Like,
it sucked back then. Whenever people ask me, like, do you ever want to travel back in time? I'm like, fuck no, dude.
No,
being a chick sucked back in the day. I don't want to go through this stuff. Maybe to go see Psycho the day it opened and then get the fuck back to my time.
Yeah, that's pretty much
to go back. Okay, maybe to get some evidence to bring back so that we have some answers.
I would love if I had a time machine, I want to just go like poke my head in and witness like, all right, let's check out Lizzie Borden. All right, let's go check out a Jack the Ripper crime.
Oh my gosh, we could be like Peabody and Sherman, and then we would just like watch them and be like, hey, you want to go see Jack the Ripper and find out what really happened? Yes, I do.
I do. Very much do.
It'd be like Doctor Who, where you're the doctor and I'm the companion, and we go look at true crimes and find the answers.
I love this. We should do this. Can we do this?
Yes.
Let's make this happen.
Make it happen.
Yes. I love it. I wanna do it.
Danny says, I mean, Coke had Coke in it. True.
True. It was a simpler time.
Danny says he'd watch our show.
Time travel true crime.
Oh boy. But it would be so satisfying to find the truth, because some of the stuff, because there are so many with crimes, the modern day crimes that we know, sometimes it's really fascinating to find these weird elements where you're like, you know, if they hadn't found this person would look incredibly guilty. You know, sometimes there's just a really weird wild card element, and that's why I would be reluctant to say guilty, because it's possible. These things have happened before where someone just comes in and, like you said, he was a landlord. He was a wealthy man. There's a lot of people who might have wanted something from him or have been angry at him.
Well, and the fact of the matter is we had multiple axe slayings happen in the early 1900s up and through the 1930s, 1940s.
Well, yeah, like there's also just serial killers and stuff in general and such too. And then there's like the BLUESKY axe murders. When was that?
That was a little bit later. And there's the man from the train, which was.
Sorry, Adam says you're time travelers from the future. Are you here to save me? We're like, no. We would have to do it like Discovery Channel. Like,
yeah, we're just observing. I'm so sorry.
So sorry. Have a cup of tea.
Really, no, the BLUESKY axe murders were 1912, and then like Jake Bird did a bunch of axe bludgeonings through the 1920s through the 1940s, where he would just break into random homes, rob them, and bludgeon people with axes.
The other thing to keep in mind too, nobody locked their damn doors back in the day.
Although he did. That is one of the points, is that, well, after the robbery, Andrew Borden took to locking everything, and he was one of the only ones with a key, because Lizzie ended up letting him in the day that when he got home. And because there's some stuff we haven't talked about that isn't necessarily that important, but one of the sticking points is like Lizzie said that Abby got a telegram to go visit somebody, but then nobody could produce the telegram. That's what she thought. Abby wasn't home, so she said. But no one's ever been able to produce the telegram. and there's no evidence to suggest that an actual telegram happened. Oh, there's also, wait, go back to Andrew Borden's picture.
Okay. And yeah, we're definitely not talking about Belle Gunness today. This is just way too interesting. That'll be our next one, though.
That'll be our next one.
Okay, because I did do research for that, too. So you want to go back to Andrew's picture? This one?
Andrew's crime scene. His crime scene picture?
Okay, this one.
So it's kind of hard to tell. Do you remember what I'd said about Lizzie saying that she took off his boots and put on his slippers?
And he's wearing his shoes, right?
Wearing
Those aren't
his
slippers.
Shoes. Yeah.
So what's up with that?
I mean...
But what if she did? What if he took his nap and then he got up, put his shoes on, he was about to go about his day, and someone came to the door? Or do we know for a fact that he was asleep?
Or, I mean, honestly, she misremembered. Maybe, like, at that point, when she was getting questioned, she was on some drugs, and she was remembering a different day when she helped. It made it sound like it wasn't that uncommon for her to be like, "Here, father, I shall help you to the couch. Let me take off your shoes and put on your slippers." Well, he wore her class ring. He had a ring on his pinky.
It does seem like they were very dear to each other, though. And so that's one of the things to me that makes it seem odd. Yeah. I also think it's odd that Abby was killed first. And then, okay, so let's talk about that. We put a pin in that earlier. What do you think happened in the 2 hours between Abby's murder and Andrew's murder?
Depending on whether or not you think that Lizzie had anything to do with it. If she didn't, she was in the barn. She was chatting with Bridget. She was talking to her father. She was cleaning. She was running. Because the thing is that if Abby was lying dead in the guest room, and Lizzie and her at this point don't have a friendly relationship where she's going to go looking for her for a chat, she don't give a flying whatever where Abby is. So she's like, who knows? Maybe Abby went to lie down in her room. Everybody's lying down. It's warm.
And that is one thing that does make, I think, Lizzie seem a little more guilty, because Lizzie could have killed her in like an argument and then been like, what am I going to do? I can't let my dad find out about this.
Yeah, but the only reason why I don't think that's what happened is, did she bring the axe in with her in case the argument got violent?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So somebody came in there with intent to kill. I mean, you don't accidentally axe murder someone. So it's not like I was cutting carrots, he pissed me off, and I stabbed him.
He ran into my knife 10 times or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So somebody went into that house with the intention to murder someone. So again, I'm perplexed. I want to know. You went in there to kill someone. You went up the stairs. You kill Abby. You know Andrew's downstairs, but you're going to wait 2 hours?
Yeah.
So this isn't your home. That's really dangerous to do. Unless, okay, what about this? What if they go in there, they kill Abby, and they think, like they heard someone upstairs, so they get rid of her first because Andrew's asleep.
Sure.
Right?
But Andrew's not home at this point.
Oh, so he's not home. So that makes sense.
He's at work.
So they go kill Abby, and then they hear people come into the house. Maybe they were hiding out for a couple hours. And then when it got quiet, they went downstairs.
And this comes back to that there's the wild-eyed man theory, the strange man that was seen the morning of the murders. There's a theory that it was just Bridget, which makes no sense to me because there's no motivation there.
She had nothing to gain.
Real pissed that people kept calling her Maggie.
Yeah.
It's like, call me Maggie again, I dare you. Yeah, that one's never made sense to me. There is a theory that Andrew Borden allegedly had an illegitimate son named William Borden. But that he was allegedly 26 years old and that he killed his father and stepmother because he was trying to extort money from them. But again, there was no evidence to back any of this up that he even had an illegitimate son. So that theory gets thrown around sometimes, but there's nothing to back up that William Borden was a thing. There are some people who think it was Emma Borden, that she snuck home, murdered her stepmother, waited for her father to get home, murdered him, and then went back to where she was. Some people think that her and Lizzie may have committed the murders together, or that Emma knew what was going to happen and that something about that is what led to them falling out later in life. There is a theory that their uncle did it. Uncle John did it. But he had left that morning. And again, could he have snuck home? Sure.
It does seem like it's got to be somebody who knew these people, though. I mean, just the amount of times they were hit.
Yeah.
But I think that could equally be somebody who is a tenant of his, or I don't think it necessarily means Lizzie.
I don't think it necessarily means Lizzie, but I think the sticking point for a lot of people in that is that if they came there looking for Andrew and they found Abby and made the choice to kill Abby and heard other people in the house, at what point did they decide, I'm going to hide and not kill the other people in the house?
So they would have had to have heard Bridget, you think? Or do you think Bridget slept through the whole thing and maybe they didn't even know Bridget was there?
Bridget came in, if we are to believe the timeline, that Abby was killed sometime between like 9:30 and 10 a.m.
Danny thinks we did it.
Shh,
from our time traveling.
Be cool, man. Snitches get stitches.
Really, Dan?
It's rude, man. I don't go around telling about people you killed.
Exactly.
Bridget was outside cleaning the windows, so Abby would have been dead by the time Bridget came back in.
Mm-hmm.
She was dead by the time Andrew got home, but it means that there was a, 45-ish minutes where Bridget's home, Lizzie's home, and there's potentially someone hiding out in the house.
That's so creepy.
They could have been hiding out in the guest room. It is possible. Waiting. And it is possible that if anyone else had gone in there, that like, okay, yeah, let's say it's the wild-eyed man or whatever. Or a tenant that was the wild-eyed man. Yeah.
They might have also chosen not to hurt his daughters because they blame, him and his, his wife if they're landlords.
But why blame Abby? Abby wouldn't have had anything to do with it either. Outside of the fact that she was unfortunately home. I think that's the part that gets hard to wrap your mind around, is that the evidence doesn't support Lizzie, but of all the possible people involved, she does sort of make the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't convict people on that, and you can't. I mean, thank God. I mean, well, with you,
and we don't know either. I mean, because without knowing who it is, we have no way of knowing potentially why. I feel so bad having this picture here. Why they would spare Lizzie. I mean, for all we know, they've met Lizzie and she was actually very nice to them. And they thought that this guy was a terrible landlord, or maybe it's the uncle or something. And it's like, well, that's my little niece. I'm not going to hurt her. But, I've gotten into it with Abby and Andrew quite a few times. I knew Abby would have, people might assume that because it's his wife, Abby had a lot of sway in Andrew's decisions and take it out on her.
And I mean, and this is kind of awful, but it's also possible that somebody didn't want to harm Bridget or Lizzie because they needed somebody to scapegoat later.
That's true too. Like that's someone who's going to get blamed for it.
Mm-hmm. So there are plenty of realms in which, it absolutely could be somebody completely different. A tenant, an uncle, her sister. I don't think it was her sister.
I don't think so either. I think the uncle has possibilities. That one I've heard some people mention. It's like, okay, I could see that, especially because he was known for giving a lot of property to family members and stuff. And when you mix family and money and such, and he's the one doling out these things, it could be a matter of, you gave somebody else something nicer than what you gave me, or I wanted something different, or why you just jealousy that they're siblings and one person has the power to, Well,
I'm remembering too, this brother is not Andrew's brother.
Yeah.
This was his first wife's brother. So there's also that kind of like, was there something about that we don't know? And
is he lording this power over them? I think that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, well, you're lucky I give you anything.
Yeah. So we just really don't know. And it is a really slippery slope to go down to assume that just because we can't prove somebody didn't do it doesn't automatically mean they did.
I also think I feel like if the other thing is, I'm stammering a lot. I feel like if Lizzie did it, there would be some indication in the rest of her life, because a lot of people don't just kill someone in a bloody, horrible way like this and then never have a violent incident again for the rest of their lives.
So actually,
enlighten me.
Well, no, I mean, if we're looking at this as being something more of a crime of passion, which, I mean, there's obviously some premeditation involved, but this, if you're saying she did it, this was hyper specific about something that obviously happened, which means the danger to anyone else is fairly low, because when people commit crimes of passion, it's very rare there's a reoffense. It's usually something makes them snap. Now, again,
but this isn't like I snapped and then I cut off his penis like a Lorena Bobbitt thing. This was I killed Abby. I waited 2 hours and I killed a sleeping man.
There's a level of planning involved in this. So this would not be, sorry, there's sirens. They heard our conversation. They're coming to me. But that being said, some people do point to the fact that her and her sister had a falling out. As evidence that perhaps Emma either had been covering for her and something.
Yeah, I know they were estranged.
They were estranged, but they hadn't been. They'd been incredibly close until they weren't. And then they didn't speak. They didn't speak again. And then Lizzie died, and like 9 days later, Emma died.
I heard it was like 3 days later, Emma died from kidney problems.
Yeah, it was well, they had let's see. Lizzie died of a heart condition on June 1st, and then 9 days later, Emma died.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
Yeah, and Lizzie was buried at her father's feet. So that's, what that is.
And that just seems weird too. Like if she was so angry at this person to axe murder him, it seems strange that she continued to show affection for him, wanting to be buried with him, having money to take care of the grave site. Yeah. This is just my speculation. I don't know them, obviously.
And again, it comes back to there's so much we don't know, because there's theories after theories after theories. There's theories that Lizzie deeply loved him, but he did something that she felt so betrayed by that she murdered him. Or included him in this, and that's where you often see. I mean, in the 2018 Lizzie, he's sexually harassing, sexually assaulting Bridget, and her and Bridget start a relationship, and he sees it, and they very much paint that as being a huge part of the reason why.
Danny mentions, it could be guilt and regret. Is there any evidence to... so we're absolutely certain that he was asleep, right? So there's no chance that Andrew killed Abby and then someone killed Andrew.
No. Andrew wasn't even home. Andrew was at a meeting. So, because we know that Abby died 1 to 2 hours prior to Andrew. And so it would have been when Andrew wasn't in the house. And
then maybe they were going there for Abby, but again, like it's hard because it's like, why the 2 hours? So obviously I'm not going to solve this, guys. Okay. Detective Haley's just going to have to put this aside, but there's more interesting things I want to talk about. So like we said, she lived a reclusive life afterwards. She never defended herself in court. From what I understand, the only thing she said was that she's pleading not guilty and that her lawyer would make her statement for her or whatever. Someone was going to make a statement for her.
But her sister took the stand.
Yeah. She's never done interviews. She's never talked about it. She never wanted to hear about it again. And then did her sister ever give interviews about it, or Bridget?
Bridget didn't. Bridget took the stand, but Bridget never spoke otherwise. Emma did give a couple interviews, because I know later years Emma had given an interview post estrangement, and she actually said, I did my duty at the trial when I sat with Lizzie day after day and then testified for her, and despite our estrangement, I'm going to do my duty in answering the cruel slanders that have been made against her, both in public print and by gossiping persons who seem to take delight in saying cruel things about her. And she talked about, she says, every Memorial Day I carry flowers to Father's grave, and Lizzie does not forget him. She generally sends her tribute by florist. So even after the sisters were not speaking,
She still defended her.
she's still defending her sister.
And that says something, I think, too.
Yeah. And
so,
yeah.
The other thing, and yeah, Adam, I know you think you're being very clever here, but there's a possibility here, sir. So Adam says, have they tried interviewing her recently? Maybe she's in a more sociable mood. According to a lot of people, she is in a more sociable mood. A lot of people believe that the Borden house is haunted. And here's the thing. You can book a tour here. You can go stay in the Lizzie Borden house. It's all been turned into essentially like a bed and breakfast. They do tours. They do all kinds of stuff here. And from what I've heard, this place is haunted.
Well, and so, okay. So,
damn, Kim, they're going to catch you.
They really are. I've gone this far, though, so I've lived a good life. It was going to happen sooner rather than later.
Dude.
It's all those Hobbit pictures.
It's just albums and albums of it.
Albums and albums.
You're like the Quentin Tarantino of hobbits.
Why? It has to be Hobbit feet. That's the only thing I
Oh
want
my
to
gosh,
see is the
dude.
Hobbit feet.
I actually need to go. I have actually Hobbit feet slippers I need to pull out.
I'm obsessed with that. Oh, I love
you
that
need
so
some.
much.
You need some.
I do. I have light up unicorn slippers.
Ooh, nice.
Which are fun, but they are not Hobbit's feet. So, you know. Yeah,
I'll wear them next time. Next time I'll wear them.
Yes. When we talk about Belle. Because we have to.
Yes. Because we have to talk about Belle next time because it's already been like 2 hours. And I actually had a lot more stuff to talk about with Belle than Lizzie. So I'm kind of
Belle
impressed.
is such a crazy
Belle is insane, dude.
Yeah.
And what's most insane is I hadn't even heard of her until you mentioned it. And that's such a crazy one.
I love her so much.
But she works for Valentine's Day-ish, you know, being the Black Widow
she
killer.
does. I've read her personal ad. She absolutely does.
Dude, lady could write a letter.
She could. Comely widow she was.
Yes.
In her own words.
What are the haunted stories about the Lizzie Borden house?
Well, so what's funny, okay.
Is there
Lizzie
anything
Borden
there?
House, I mean, according to Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
So, and what I will say is that prior to becoming a B&B, I don't want to like kill anyone's buzz. So if you don't want to hear me lightly scully some of this stuff,
No, scully the crap out of it. I just want to know. I want the facts, man.
Prior to it being a B&B, there were no previous owners reporting anything on the record of having noticed anything at the Borden house. Doesn't mean that there wasn't something there. But the B&B people have been really leaning into that. So now when Ghost Adventures went there, they had a bunch of stuff happen. Like to be fair, it's Ghost Adventures, so they always have something happening. So I don't have a high opinion.
I have such a low opinion of that Zach guy. I just can't stand him.
The cameras got messed with. People got grabbed. It was a Ghost Adventures episode.
Oh, God, did you hear that?
It was pretty normal.
Oh my God, did you see that?
Did you hear that?
What was that?
Did you feel that? When they turned the cameras back on, they're like, all right, y'all. Right after the cameras got turned off, someone threw me across the room.
They always do. Remember that movie Demon House?
Mm-hmm.
That freaking guy, dude. That freaking guy. Anyway, but a lot of people go there because they want to have this whole experience. I'm going to go to the Lizzie Borden house website here because I want to remember.
There's people who talk about seeing like apparitions, mostly of Abby Borden will be seen moving around, Andrew being murdered. Some people say they've seen that. Another of him just being like Andrew, meaning it's probably a residual haunting of some kind. Lights flickering, apparitions of something that might be the maid or it might be Lizzie. There is also an account. I read an account of ghosts of 2 children who allegedly drowned, but then I didn't ever find evidence of any children drowning. Now, what's funny is that Lizzie's Maplecraft home, the one that she moved into post murders, that one's also supposed to be haunted.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tour that? I know.
So, Maplecraft is the name of that house we talked about earlier that's up on the hill that she lived in, and that's what she named it.
post-murders. And because the former owners even were quoted as saying they think that Lizzie is still there. Although they also keep talking about Lizzie's boyfriend. They're like, I don't know, girl could have been bi, I suppose. But like, it's a very strong, she was accused publicly of lesbianism.
Oh,
like
yeah?
in a court case. Yeah. She was, there was someone who named her in a court case for having an affair with his wife. And she had a relationship, it looked like, with this actress she was very fond of. So there's a
Which might be another reason why she was living with her father, because it wouldn't have been acceptable for her to have a relationship with a woman.
There's a very good likelihood that she was queer in some capacity. But yeah, the Maplecroft home has had a bunch of investigators in it, so I know that they've let ghost hunters come in.
This is their Lizzie Borden house. You can book a ghost hunt, a ghost tour, a house tour. You can do a cemetery tour, or you could have spilling the tea with Lizzie Borden, a Victorian tea party.
I want to do that. Can we do that?
Where is it? This is in Massachusetts.
Listen, we'll get in our time machine. Just hop on over.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And yeah, these are all the rooms you can book.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I want to stay in the Lizzie Borden house.
Dude, I want to stay there just because it looks super cute. So nothing really remarkable as far as the ghost hunting.
I mean, pretty run of the mill, like I live in an old house and there might be something still here. A lot of what I've heard makes it to me seem like there might be some residual hauntings. There's some ghost hunting groups that have said they've caught some EVPs. I've yet to hear any that are particularly memorable. But is it very possible it's haunted? Yeah, absolutely. It's an old freaking house. And it had a murder happen.
Adam says, it's funny how a financial incentive and motivated business owner really brings out the ghost. One that's, I think, really interesting, if you go talking about, I can't remember the name of the house, but it's the house from the first Conjuring movie. Scammers that run that place. There's a whole John Wolfe series on it. Go check it out. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Amityville house. The
Amityville house has a boat launch in it, dude. That place went up for sale, I feel like 8 years ago, and I wanted it so bad.
Yep. I was getting sent that listing by everyone, and I was like, I'm sorry, are you offering to pay for this for me?
Great. And then the Nightmare on Elm Street house. Oh, dude, one day I want a spooky house. Anyway.
I just like spooky dolls.
Lizzie Borden. So there's also been a lot of Lizzie Borden material. So from what I gathered from you read The Borden Murders, Lizzie Borden and the Trial of the Century by Sarah Miller. Based on Goodreads, that seems to be the one that's the most popular and highest reviewed. The other one people seem to really like is Trial of Lizzie Borden, which is another nonfiction book. It's a true story. That one's written by Kara Robertson. So those are the two I put on here just because those are the ones that seem to have the most people reviewing them, having read it and stuff. There are a ton. So trying to help you guys weed through some of them a bit.
And some of the older ones lean heavier into a lot of the rumors. So that's part of where I'm fonder of some of the more recently published ones is that they are a little bit more thoroughly researched.
That's good. I also have some fictional accounts on here as well. So the first one, it's not actually based on, it is inspired by Lizzie Borden, but it's not based on it. It's a fictional book called The Only One Left. And this is another one where it got me rethinking a lot of this Lizzie Borden stuff because it is inspired by her. And a lot of it is similar. So in this one, it's a girl where she's the only survivor after her father, stepmother, I believe it's her stepmother, and sister are killed. And it all looks like she did it. But they didn't have enough evidence to convict her. And it's just like Lizzie Borden. There's a rhyme and everything. Everyone believes it. And then after the court case, she goes up on the hill in this house and never says a damn word again. In fact, they believe she's mute. So this woman, she's a caregiver, and she had an incident where one of the people she was caring for died, and it was blamed on her, so she can't get work anywhere. But this Lizzie Borden character is looking for someone to care for her. They need somebody who's going to be the new caregiver, and she doesn't want to do it, but No one else will take it, and she needs a job. So she takes it. And this woman does not speak to anyone. She has a typewriter, and then she has one of the girls there. She'll like record herself reading books to her. But then the woman goes to the typewriter and she types out, "I'm ready to tell my story," like what actually happened. It's a really, really good book with lots of twists and turns. So I highly recommend that if you're just interested in this case and you want to read a fictional, fun thing. It's completely fictional. But it does make you think about like odd little things that could happen and make you, open your mind a bit. I haven't seen this, but I am a big Bewitched fan, and I love Elizabeth Montgomery. You told me about The Legend of Lizzie Borden. That was a TV movie, right?
Yes. And it's pretty, it's solid. Like, and for her, it's kind of fun to see her in a, like, I know her mostly from Bewitched. So it was fun seeing her as something that was very against type, or at least against type that I was used to. And I mean, like, it leans into a lot of the kind of folklore of it, but honestly, it's I don't know. I think of all the adaptations, it might be the one I like the best. I didn't love Lizzie. And
a lot of people didn't. I looked on Letterboxd. The average rating was 3.
Yeah.
It seems like there just really hasn't been a super popular Lizzie Borden one, but just Googling it, a lot of people pointed towards this TV movie as being the one that was the least sensational.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, the Christina Ricci one it's just bonkers.
It's very silly.
And the last poster I have on here is the one that's coming out this year. I think it's supposed to come out in September. Wait, no. The Conjuring movie's coming out in September. I actually don't know when this is coming out, but it's slated for 2026. It says on the poster. So this is by the same people who did the Menendez brothers. They did the Jeffrey Dahmer one, and they just did the Ed Gein one. And they're doing a whole monster series. So Lizzie Borden.
Murphy?
Huh?
Isn't it Ryan Murphy?
Yeah. Let me go. Yeah. This is the one that's coming out soon. Yeah, I kind of want to show you the picture too. So monster, Lizzie Borden story. It's got Ella Beatty. Ella Beatty. Rebecca Hall's going to be in it.
I like Rebecca Hall.
Yeah, I like her too.
Is she playing the stepmother?
Let's find out. Let's see who's going to be in this.
I like Rebecca Hall.
So here, we're going to go back to this. So yeah, that's who's playing Lizzie Borden, Ella Beatty, and Charlie Hunnam is in it. Which is weird because he just played Ed Gein.
He just played Ed Gein.
He's going to return to the franchise as Andrew Borden.
That's weird.
Which is weird. He's not. We saw Andrew Borden, guys.
Yeah. Well, and Andrew Borden was 69 years old.
Every time you say 69, I kind of want to giggle. Not gonna lie.
I'm curious now. Like, I want to
look at this.
She looks so young. She looks like a baby. She's 25. Young.
She is young. So
like part of the point was that Lizzie was a little bit of a
spinster.
This is not a. I'm sorry, I'm having feelings.
So also monster season forecast. So I want to see who's playing who. Do we know anything about who Rebecca Hall's playing? Because I do like her. She was in the Night House, which was really good.
And The Awakening.
Yes.
But if she's playing the mom, I'm gonna have feelings. Oh, she could be playing the older sister, maybe.
Or what about Bridget?
She's too old to be playing Bridget. I mean, not that they're because Bridget, I think, was younger than Lizzie. Because I was gonna say the girl playing Lizzie would be better suited to be.
Oh, she plays Abby Borden, so she's her stepmother. Right. But I mean, Charlie Hunnam's her dad, so
I know. But like, I'm okay. I know I need
Vicky
to.
Cripes is Bridget Sullivan. I don't know who that is. This is her. She's gonna play Bridget. Oh, she does look familiar.
Yeah.
She's 42, so she's a lot older than the actress playing Lizzie. And Billie Lourd is Emma Borden. So Billie Lourd is Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good cast.
It is. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
Billie Lourd is actually the correct age to be playing Lizzie.
She's playing Emma.
Yeah, because Lizzie was 32 and Emma would have been She was 9 years older, so Emma would have been 41.
And who is this Ella Beatty? What's she been in?
Oh, she looks like a baby.
Well, I think they're definitely in the past ones they've really tried to.
Yeah, it's the daughter of Annette Bening and Warren Beatty.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yep.
In the past, they've tried to really cast a sympathetic light on these killers, which I guess in the Lizzie Borden case isn't as egregious as maybe like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, unless they're doing it by, again, villainizing Andrew and Abby, who are the people who were murdered.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't love that. I don't love that. She was in she's done other Ryan Murphy stuff, which is why, probably why because she was in, I guess, Feud Capote versus the Swans.
Okay.
And she was in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I don't remember.
That's a Joaquin Phoenix movie.
If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You was the one this year with Rose Byrne. But I think she
wasn't Joaquin Phoenix in that movie?
If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You?
I could have. No, I'm thinking of a different movie. Never mind.
The mom spiraling.
No, I'm thinking of a different movie.
It sounds like
it's
something
like he can't get far on so-and-so's legs. I don't know. There's another one that has a similar title.
Those all sound like something Joaquin Phoenix would be in.
Yeah, I'll see if I can figure it out.
Kick with your legs. The Joaquin Phoenix story.
I can't spell Joaquin Phoenix. Damn it. When you want to go down a rabbit hole, but you don't know how to spell stuff. Okay, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to look up as Beau is Afraid. That's what we're going to do. Because he's in that.
He is in
and then
that.
from there, we're going to click on Joaquin Phoenix. And then, what was the name of the freaking ridiculous movie he was in? Don't worry, he won't get far on foot. Okay, that's it. That's what it was.
All right.
Okay.
So I can see how you got there.
Okay, see? I had things.
It was things.
So, how do you feel about that?
About that cast?
Yeah. I think they got a lot of very good-looking people, and
it's going to be the prettiest version of Lizzie Borden anyone's ever seen.
Yes. Oh my God! What if they ever do Belle Gunness? Because nobody's pretty in that story.
No, but at least
Mads was kind of pretty.
Well, Belle Gunness is so sensational. I actually feel like they wouldn't really mess the story up that much because it feels like it's so ridiculous it should be fake. Where I think part of where I don't personally get into any of the Ryan Murphy monster ones is that they warp the stories so much and the facts so much. I just struggle with that.
The thing with Belle Gunness, and I had this ready because we were going to talk about her tonight. Yeah. We know what she did, but we don't have any accounts of her doing it because no one said, like, you know, no one can actually describe what happened, with the exception of a few. Like, I know there's one guy who went there and he heard footsteps outside of his room and stuff. We have theories, but like from her point of view, you could really speculate. So there's this book here, In the Garden of Spite. And I really want to read that. I haven't read it yet, but it's a fictional telling. And yeah, you have open ground to say whatever you want. Because
I read Hell's Princess.
Yeah, I've heard that one's really good. That's a nonfiction book.
Hell's Princess is good. I've not read In the Garden of Spite.
That's a fictional retelling. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like her story, because we do have a lot of facts about what she did, but like how we don't know exactly how many people there are and stuff. So you can embellish a little bit because there's room.
We know the most about, and we'll talk about this obviously when we talk about Belle Gunness, but we have the deaths of her first two husbands. That's really where we have accounts because those are the ones made to look natural or accidental. And so we have her account, we have the doctor's accounts there. But once she started getting people there, yeah.
I have some time too. I'll read these books because I have time now. Because, yeah, we spent 2 hours on Lizzie Borden.
We did. And Belle Gunness is so that case is so insane.
So, yeah, preview for you guys. That's what we're going to talk about next time Kim comes back. If she comes back, which she will, right?
I will. Yeah. Oh, please. Again,
We're gonna talk about Belle Gunness,
and Belle Gunness.
Psychologically, I just feel like this is so fascinating. So this is with Lizzie Borden. She's an alleged killer, and I don't even think we're allowed to say that because she was not guilty. But she's notorious. She's a notorious figure. Whereas Belle Gunness, she is an American serial killer.
She killed, again, at least 14 people, but more.
Yeah, they say it's anywhere between 14 and 40. And one of the podcasts I listened to, it was Heart Starts Pounding. They thought it was probably somewhere around 28, like somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say, and we'll get into why.
We'll get into why.
Oh my gosh, dude, I can't wait to talk about that. That's case, like, I didn't know about this before Kim mentioned it the last time she was on here. And I went down the rabbit hole. And guys, it's a fascinating story. Like, she's just a fascinating figure. I'm surprised we don't hear about her as much. You know, we hear about H.H. Holmes and we hear about Jack the Ripper. Like, she's a lot.
Wild. Her whole life was wild.
If it's because, you know, she's the Black Widow killer. So she killed a lot of husbands.
So maybe for Valentine's Day, we'll look at that.
Yeah, it's romantic. It's what it is. It's romantic. Yeah. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe. And Kim will be back here next month. Also, you can get more Kim and Gabby, her co-host on Ghoulish Tendencies. So tell them a little bit about Ghoulish Tendencies.
Ghoulish Tendencies, a spooky podcast. We cover a little bit of everything. We'll cover true crime. We'll cover ghosts and cryptids and alien. Gabby does love the alien abduction stories.
I love those ones too.
They're fun. They're fun. I love her do those ones. We've done some cursed movies. Anything that's kind of spooky, morbid, macabre, we will take a look at. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're sad. And hopefully they're informative.
And for this particular episode, I linked in the description below. You've got a link to Kim's Instagram, the Ghoulish Tendencies website, but also the 2-part episode that Ghoulish Tendencies did on Lizzie Borden. And the 2-part episode, if you want to get ready, or if you want to be surprised, don't check it out until later. But she also did a 2-part episode on Belle Gunness. And there's a lot of other female killers that Kim thought were kind of related to this. So there's a lot down in the description below to keep you guys satiated until Kim comes back.
Yay.
What are you guys working on next? Because you guys do a new episode about every 2 weeks, right?
About every 2 weeks. Our schedule's gotten a little funky because Gabby's in grad school right now and her life has exploded. But we have actually the second part of an episode's coming out soon, and then we're recording tomorrow. We're doing an Ask Ghoulish Tendencies, which we do every so often, where people have sent in questions for us to answer. And then next episode after that's mine. It's probably gonna be something haunted because we've done a whole bunch of like kind of hardcore, intense episodes, and I feel like we need something a little bit lighter because we've bummed people out a bunch, and we wanna bum them out less for an episode before I destroy their souls. It's a balance. It's a balance.
Do you know what haunted thing you're going to talk about?
That's a good question. I should, because I need to start researching since we're going to be recording.
Well, I did tell you about Christchurch Mansion in Ipswich, and there's tons of spooky stuff in Ipswich. And that was one of the last places where there was a witch trial. And we still have all the stuff there. We have like the dunking tank and everything. Like that town's just crazy. So that's the town I'm from. But yeah, maybe I'll send you some stuff over. I don't know how much there is, but I just know everyone says that Christchurch Mansion is haunted. And it's like a big, massive park that you can go to, but you can also go tour the mansion. And it's a big part of how they market it is that it's haunted.
Okay. I enjoy, again, and I like doing stuff that... you can ask some
I also have a book from, because that's where I was born, is Ipswich, Suffolk in England, called The Last Witch in Suffolk or in England. And that's all about the last witch trial they did.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the Ipswich Witch.
That's it. The Ipswich Witch. I have that.
Mary Lakeland, known as Mother Lakeland. Ooh, okay. Actually, this might be a fun...
There you go. I helped.
Yeah, no, this would be super
not just when I'm the Peabody Peabody's the smart one. I'm the Sherman.
Are you the Sherman?
I'm the Sherman and you're the Peabody.
I love this.
Yes.
No, this actually looks like it would be a really cool thing to cover, and I dig covering.
I would just let you borrow the book, but you are 3 hours away.
That's fair.
Oh, but I am going to be in Puyallup this weekend. I don't know. That's too far away.
That's still a good distance.
That's pretty far. But you could probably just get the book online. It'd probably be easier.
If I can't, I'll harass you.
Yes. If not, maybe I can find it for you too. Like a digital
cool.
copy or something.
Oh, yeah. I might be able to get the library too.
Oh, yeah. Like Libby. Ouch.
I love
that
Libby.
hurt my ear. I ripped that. Oh my God. Okay. No, I thought I broke it fully, but no, I just ripped it out of the thingy. No, I gotta put it in the hole. Oh.
That's what she said.
It doesn't help. I make that like grunt sound as I do it. Okay. So this is what you have to look forward to. She will be back. And we're going to talk about Belle Gunness in February. And I'm going to be wearing my sexy Hobbit feet slippers. So
yes, you are.
You don't want to miss out on that.
No.
Yes, they ran out of witches because I got the heck out of there, dude. I actually wasn't born yet, but seriously, that town is so to this day, it's so superstitious. Like I told you, like we would have things in the newspaper about people talking about their haunted experiences and such. And my grandmother, always told me that, like, about being part of like a line of like people who've practiced witchcraft and stuff. Like everyone's superstitious there, so it's wild.
That sounds really cool.
It's awesome. It's just a cool town anyway. Like the whole downtown's all cobblestone and such. Mm-hmm. It's pretty rad. So if you need info that I have, I will send it your way. But for you guys, thank you for checking out the stream with us. It was awesome hanging out with Danny and Adam. And we saw Nightmare Files earlier. And if you're gory, and some of you are probably checking us on the replay. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you had fun and this was informative. And I stream every Sunday and Wednesday. My next stream will be Wednesday. I have Jen's reviews from the grave on, and we're going to be talking about the most disturbing movies of all time. We've got some pretty messed up ones to share. So hopefully you'll join us then.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Anything you want to say before we go?
If you are going to murder someone with an axe, make sure to not get blood on your face and then wipe it, because it's going to be really hard to get off.
Yes.
Yeah.
My advice is never shave your toe beards, because that is where your power is.
It's true.
And until we meet again, blessed be.